have joined up here, and we'll get going and have this discussion. So, first though, I want to kind of cover a bit about what we'll be talking about today throughout this panel, and then also in our breakout groups. So, our thought here is that group coaching isn't always well understood, and how it could be really impactful for you as your career. So it's really our goal here to share some of our experience with what group coaching is, how impactful it's been, discuss and kind of explore how it might give you a differentiator in your career growth. We'll hear some tips and tricks and learnings from this amazing, very experienced panel here in a minute. As I said before, this is also an hour of networking, right? So connect with each other. You are all in this, exploration in different ways and shapes. So sharing amongst each other is a really powerful way to connect. It's networking with purpose. And you're not alone, right? There's a bunch of us in here, all talking and thinking about these topics and sharing. So connect and network. And then after we talk with the panel, we'll break out into some smaller groups. And when we do that, you can pop around in the different sessions. And we all encourage it. We won't be offended if you leave our session and go to somebody else's, because that's actually what this is about. We're all facilitators too of the PM Co-op mid-career coaching circles. And so you can get a feel for how different facilitators really run their circles, what the topics are. So explore and move around and ask questions, and we'll get there in a few minutes. All right. Hey, my fellow panelists, anything else that you want to say before we jump into our conversation?
That was a whole lot, and you covered it beautifully.
All right.
I wanted to everyone here. I see that it's more than 100 people here, so I'm very excited. I think this info session had a lot of good welcoming, and hopefully this could be a good space for everyone to get to know each other, as Kristin mentioned, not just for listening, also for connecting and networking as well. So welcome everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Naxis. All right, so we'll do a quick intro. So, I am Kristin. I've been in product now for, I can't even count all the years, but let's say 20 plus. And I've been in tech for, about 25 years. And most of that has been in product, leading products, leading product teams in all different environments, from very seed, early stage startups, all the way through big matrixed enterprise SaaS companies. And have seen the different, stages of all product development. So I have also watched this whole function grow over the years and been a part of what I think is a really exciting function that gets to bring together and solve, bring together business and customer and tech and design in a really cool way to solve important customer problems. So for me, that's great. Even better for me is developing people and teams. So that's where I spend my time now. I am a certified coach in leadership and performance coach, and spend a lot of time really helping others see and be their best as teams or as individuals. So that's a bit about me. I'm going to pass it on over to Heather. You want to give a quick intro?
Hi, yes, I'm Heather Sitt. I come to this with over 15 years of experience across a number of disciplines, mostly strategy, operations, and then more recently, formally moving into product. My background is all over the place. I actually went to law school before getting into all of the tech things. So if you want to talk about pivots into technology and going in and out of it, happy to have that discussion too for anyone in my breakout session. And I've been a 2X COO and head of product, and actually just launched my latest project earlier this morning. Diana,
Awesome.
if you want to go.
Yeah, hi, and congratulations, Heather, on launching your project this morning. It's a big day for you. So I'm Diana Stepner, and I've been in product for about 20 years as well. I actually grew up in Cupertino, so my whole background is in technology. I've worked in consulting, I've worked overseas, I've worked for small companies, I've worked for big companies, I've worked for startups, I've worked for everything in between. But I always come back to people and making sure what I do is focused on people. And that's why I'm really excited to be part of the Women in Product event today, as well as to connect with all of you too. And so really excited to dive into the session today. So over to you, Naxis.
Awesome.
Great. Hello, everyone. My name is Naxis. I'm originally from Venezuela. I lived many years in Chile and later I moved to the US. I'm actually civil engineer, so I have this transition into tech. I would say that part of my biggest learning into doing the transition is because it was very career intended. So I tried many other roles and many other things before coming here and thinking that my skills and whatever I like. So like this middle between, business and also technology, knowing a little bit of everything, but also, talking with everyone is something that I feel very passionate about. In this way, I've been, doing different courses, different activities, from certificating at Stanford, also in product management, a lot of things I'm always trying to learn. And all the other things apart from work I've been doing is connecting with other Latinos or other immigrants, all these people interested in getting into tech as well. And I think until now I've worked at least with almost like 15 different organizations. So it's something that I really get passionate about it. And this is why I'm so excited to be here. So I think this program is very unique. It's very different. And I do see a lot of value on that. So this is why I'm so excited we can share and start info session.
That's awesome. Thank you. And thank you all. And I get the luxury of working with the three of these lovely, amazing, talented women all the time. And so I'm really excited for them to share. And we'll start out with, and you will actually get to all break out and talk with them in more detail in a minute. But let's start a little bit. So Heather and Diana, you're going to be, opening up a room soon for leading with impact and what that means. And so I'm just curious, as the amazing, accomplished leaders you both are, talk to us a little bit about what impactful leadership really means to you. Diana, do you want to go first?
Sure. No worries. So when I think about impactful, product leaders, I think about a number of characteristics. One is to be collaborative, and so to build strong relationships, such as the ones we're doing today through all the LinkedIns and the conversations that we'll have. The other is to be strategic, so to think about, the vision. Where do you want the product to go? What is the direction that you're going to be taking? Because that will help you to prioritize features and align resources. And I also think you need to be data-driven. A lot of what we do in regards to understanding our impact and our return on investment calls on data. And especially now with AI appearing everywhere, having some insight into how to work with that data, how to use it to empower and to power what we're doing is more critical, I think, than ever before. So those are the things that came to mind for me.
Yeah, that's amazing. Collaboration, data, and really vision, right? And helping those move forward. And what's a tip that you would say that helped you kind of develop your leadership style?
So I think it's being true to myself. I think that's one of the things that people can suss out when a leader isn't being real. And so I think it's a characteristic of being true to yourself and leading with empathy. And so that you're able to understand, work with, and encourage and coach the people around you. So that's one of the things that really resonated with me when I transitioned into leadership.
Yeah, and I imagine that is really modeled out also for people that, you have on your team, which is great. Ripple effect, right? Heather, how about, what does leadership or leading with impact in particular kind of mean to you?
I think everything that Diana said is true. I would just add that I really envision leading with impact as also being inspirational. So how do you inspire people to follow along that path, really dive into who they are, what are their values, what type of leader do they want to be, and helping them cultivate that version of themselves that they desire. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, these products are for people. And if we aren't people informed about the things that we're doing, they don't get used, and then you just have sad products.
Yes, nobody wants sad products, right? We want to have products that matter and make an impact, right? To your point, and that's great. And how did you get there? What's a tip, that you could share of how you got to that place?
So that by, I am by nature a perfectionist. I like when things are perfect and very exact, precise. My dad's a microbiologist, so it's very, very precise. and very, very perfect and clean. And the world isn't like that. He deals in theory and academia, which is wonderful and a thing to aspire to. But one of the best tips I ever got was learn how to be a work in progress. And it's uncomfortable, but that's the real world and how things operate. And so the more you can be comfortable being uncomfortable and working through your challenges with others, the better off you're going to be. So actively getting feedback from both like my managers, my peers, my directs has been so influential in the way that I lead, because I'm constantly getting the feedback of this is working, this isn't.
It's such an important point, right? Progress, not perfection. And we are all works in progress. And, you know, it is an ongoing, you know, move forward on that. So thank you for sharing that. I think many of us can probably relate to kind of shaking off some of that perfectionism and you know, achievement focus. So thank you so much for sharing that. So so Naxis and I will be talking a bit in our breakout sessions about gaining career clarity, right? And so a great segue, Heather, because a lot of that is just kind of like shaking off and being in it, right? And really, you know, really kind of letting, you know, growing and iterating yourself like you would your products, right? And so, you know, I feel like sometimes I've struggled in the past and still do sometimes with like wanting this crystal ball of career clarity. Like I can look at it and there are the answers. It tells me where to go. And I look into it and it's cloudy. You know, it can sometimes be like, what? Okay, where are my answers? And so next is like, I mean, talk to us a bit about, you know, can you share a tip or two on how you kind of parted those clouds and gotten some clarity for yourself along the way?
Yes, I think I could take some of what Diana and Heather share as well in the part of like true to yourself. And I think I resonate so much with that because every journey is so personal. So I think it depends a lot about what stage of your life are you at. For example, if you want to decide to continue as a more like individual contributor, or if you want to think more of step up of manager, and maybe you're, I don't know, maybe you're going to be a mom, or maybe you have 2 kids now, or maybe you're not, your head is not there, or maybe you're like, yeah, I want to give it all right now. So I think this is why it's so unique, and I felt this is the, you know, so powerful, like being, remember that you're not alone. And I think at least this one of the things, my biggest lessons from all these 10 years or more of career has been that, you know, being able, this resilience, being able to adapt, being able to try it out, and just don't feel, you know, even still be, you could be afraid, but still be brave enough to try it out. Because some of these things, you always learn and you're always evolving. So I think it's so beautiful. Sometimes I remember, like, I'm a small town in Venezuela, and when I graduated as a civil engineer, I would never really imagine that 10 years I would have like this life, you know, and also working another language and living in the US, in Miami. I'm like, wow, you know, it's crazy. And sometimes I think about it, and later I'm like, my motivator is that I did a lot of work on myself, on getting to know myself and getting to know my values and what was important for me. So I think if I have to summarize this, it's very important. Whatever, like, you true to yourself, authentic, and connect a lot with yourself. You know, what is important to you right now? And maybe it's not in product management, probably not because you're here, but I think like most, I'm pretty sure this, like, maybe it's not with this type of product, maybe this type of industry. Also figure out things that I discover as well is like, what type of leadership, you know, what type of leader I am. How can I live different way? Or if you work with a manager, what type of manager I'm expecting to. So having higher standards sometimes is important because help you to move. You know, when you feel that you're not that comfortable, if things are not working out that much, just, you know, cool, keep moving and just like don't stop. You know, I think this is the most important. Like Steve, like always keep moving, don't stay there. And I think if we're here more than 100, if you're here, it's because you're already into the right path. So give yourself some grace and just keep moving. And I think eventually you're still having more clarity until one point that you're like, you're able to say no to some opportunities, so giving yourself more room to say yes to another one.
Yeah, you bring up so many good points there, right? The last one of like everything you say yes to is something you say no to, right? So making those trade-offs, because none of us, very few of us have like lots of luxury of time and resources and all the things, just like our roadmaps, to invest in things. So what you say yes to is, stuff you say no to. So being really,
I think
intentional about that.
Yeah, besides what things are you saying no are even more important. I think so. And I feel like probably us as product manager, we're very used to it to do that in our products. So I think it's very interesting how can we translate this, our career as a product itself, right? How can we prioritize ourselves in our career better? How can we just grow more, So it's really interesting. It's really interesting. It's a very inspiring, it's very unique journey. So I think part of like we want as well with this program and is to bring this clarity for yourself. There maybe is going to be really different that maybe for me, for Heather, for Kristin, and this is why it's so beautiful because you don't need to do this clarity by yourself. Even when there are different paths, you don't need to do it by yourself. And this is why I feel like it's so important, these spaces and this community, because this is what we want, like a safe space, a space where you can just make questions and have this curiosity about why are we here? Why are we doing this? Where is our motivators,
Yeah, absolutely. And being curious, right? We're curious with our products, our customers, be curious with ourselves, and really know ourselves because, PM might be the path right now, but, along the way, it might be something different and, it might be a different version. I mean, what is really your values and what you want to solve in the world and so forth. And one way that, I'll say that I've gained career clarity, and it seemed like it was right under my nose all this time, but now it seems so clear, which is productizing myself a little bit more, like actually leveraging the tools that I use on my products on myself a little bit more, right? Like, what's my value proposition? What do I really want to do in the world? What do I want to solve? Who do I want to be? Like all the same discovery questions in a totally different reframe a bit. And so I think, sometimes I think some of the things we can do is step outside of ourselves, and kind of look at those things that we've gone so deep inside of ourselves to figure out. And then how do we turn those? And so, it sort of helps us to use some of the frameworks and tools that we know that kind of helps us be less in the kind of reactive, like the career is happening to me and I'm just making decisions on what's presented in my path, to instead kind of making opportunity and thinking like, I'm the driver of this, right? Like, I'm in control of this. I'm in the driver's seat. I'm going to be creative. It's sort of that moving from reaction to creation, right? Like,
it's more
so,
like,
I mean, who doesn't love being in their creative head more than their reactive head, right?
Feeling like you're the main character.
Yeah, exactly. Diana and Heather, what do you think about that? I know I saw you. I think Diana, it looked like you were going to jump in there.
Oh, I think you captured it beautifully. And there is no traditional product management path. All of us come from, different backgrounds, and I think that's what makes product management amazing, because we're always working with so many different types of cross-functional stakeholders, and having that diverse background, those diverse perspectives, means that we are able to, cut past some of the bias. We're able to think about our customers first, and I think we build better products as a result. So I'm just smiling because I love how, all these different journeys that people have taken into product management, I think just makes what we do so much richer.
Yeah, it's such a great point. And I think, so all of us here, all four of us have been, kind of a part of creating these coaching circles with women in product, and really, believe in the power of group coaching. And I thought we might shift gears and talk a little bit about that, because I think we all believe deeply in it, and the power of it. But maybe, I don't know who wants to jump in here and start, but talk about what you've seen group coaching in particular help unlock for people.
I think the first thing is just like, you don't feel so alone. For people who are the only product person in their company, it's like even more lonely than doing product in a team, because you don't know what's going on in other places, because so many people come to it in non-traditional ways. Like, you don't just have the product career, you come from consulting, you come from legal, you come from engineering. Like, you don't necessarily know what product is, quote unquote, supposed to look like. And so no idea if the thing that is driving you crazy has also driven someone else crazy. Is there a better way to do this? Like, it feels like there should be, but I don't have the evidence or the proof that it does. And so I think that's the number one benefit of group coaching, is just feeling less alone and understanding that the problems that you're going through, other people share and have developed solutions for.
Mm-hmm. And can help give you some insight, right, on the things that you bring from a different perspective. Diana, you're going to jump in.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I think what Heather said, it summarizes it so perfectly. And I think the other piece about the group coaching is you have that accountability and that motivation. So, it's almost like a network that will be there and will be seeking you. And so if you don't show up, there'll be that accountability to check on you, to make sure you're okay, to, push you to be involved again. And I think it's also just, again, looking through the chat, it's that opportunity to connect with so many, other types of people, to learn from other people's experiences. And so instead of just having that solo voice in your head, you have a wise community and connections that help you think more broadly and give you more tools to be able to navigate your career or have impact. So a lot of benefits to the group coaching.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think, Naxis? Like, what has been from the last one that, we wrapped up at the end of last year? What did you see as kind of most impactful from group coaching?
I think group coaching is so valuable, right? In the sense of like communities, it's very similar to Heather, like what I mentioned as well. Like, you don't need to do it by yourself. Like, it's your career, it's your decision, it's very personal to you, but it's still like hearing other people's opinion, understanding their expertise and everything also help you to get to know you a little bit more, right? So I think also it's good to hear about other like experience and solutions to see if it could be a good fit for you. Other thing that I found is so valuable is because it's with a group coaching for product management specifically. And I think in the past I have done different group coaching with, maybe in that case it was more like tech approach. So in this case there were different roles, and in technology you have so many different roles, and I think here specifically product managers, they could understand all the things that you do, more like checking the backlog, prioritizing the roadmap, the vision. So it's like so similar that I felt like it's like something that is different for other programs, and I think I kind of value the most, because I see that the product management role specifically, sometimes you're sort of like a leader, but not too much for your team or whatever. But you kind of like fighting by yourself. I don't know. It feels like you're, and if you have coworkers, other product managers, they have other products, they have other stuff. So no, most of the time, and it's still like someone that is a colleague in the same company, So you can share stuff, but maybe not too much. You still have some line there. And I felt like here it's very interesting, because it's like just hearing about other companies, what they're doing, other companies, how is this role? And always this doubt about, product owner, product manager, like you don't even understand the name of the role. So I think it's so, it's very cool of that, because it could be a more like transparent space to like standardize, understand a little bit more product management from other product managers, even us, that we could be facilitator. There still would be group for like less than 10 people. So it's like a small group that you could get to know more people and understand what they're doing, what they like it, what works and what doesn't work. So it's not just going through any type of grouping, of like coaching. It's like very specific coaching for something that you're doing and you've been doing for many years. So it's really amazing. I really like that for that. I feel like the value of that is so unique.
Yeah. All of you bring up some really good points. And I think we end on there with the structure to it. Like, it isn't just an unstructured group. I think there is some, there's facilitation, there's structure, accountability, connection. And then most importantly, what you brought up is like, there's like, privacy in that, right? You can work in a group that we have pretty, as you all know, we take that group really kind of in those Vegas rules. What happens in the group and is said in the group really stays in the group, right? And it gives you that ability to, not be in your work environment or your friend environment or whatever, to have a safe space to work through some of these, these very vulnerable scenarios sometimes for career growth and leadership growth. So So having that structure can really help. And we'll get into that when we break out and talk a little bit more about the logistics of, and I'll share something as we transition into breakout sessions, but having that container and structure can really be impactful for growth. All right, so I am going to share really quickly before we go in, just for folks that are curious what we're talking about with this. So what we're talking about is the PM Cooperative Mid-Career Growth Coaching Circles, which are coming up again. And so really these are what you'll break out and discuss and have questions about, like, are these right for you? Is this the right time for you? It's not always the right time to join a coaching circle. And so this will give you some space to discuss that with other, with the facilitators and other folks in there. And we have two themes that we'll be focusing on this upcoming circle. One theme that you can elect into is building career clarity. And that's really focused on, developing and honing your career vision and steps to get there, and, practicing career narrative and personal brand and purpose statements and things like that. And then there's another track, which is leading with impact. And that's really focused on your inner leader and then the leader you are in the, with your teams. Are you transitioning from an IC to a leader? Are you trying to develop further leadership skills within your current leadership role? What does leadership mean to you? So those are sort of the two tracks that we'll break out into in a second and talk with. And like I said before, move around. It's okay if you bail and go to another room. That's what we want you to do, is to really talk with different facilitators, get a sense for it. Also, these are, all of us have a lot of experience. So if you have questions just on what, not even the coaching program itself, but what leadership, career development, where we've been, what we're doing, ask away. I mean, that's what these spaces are for, is to share. This is our big community and we want to all share amongst it. I got to tell you about the survey. Please make sure you take the survey, pop it off before, and you'll move around. And if you have any questions, there are links in all the communications about how to contact or how to find out more and what the program is. Ask a lot of questions. And what are my other tips? I guess I'd say, well, let me ask all of my panelist friends here. What couple words are would describe how you're feeling right now, jumping into these sessions and breaking out? I'll start. I'm feeling really energized and just curious, curious what people want to know and how we can help. How about Naxis? How are you? What two words would you say?
I think
summarize where you're at.
Exciting. I feel very, very, very excited about seeing if this could be a good match for any of the people here, here listening to us right now, and very hopeful. I swear. I don't know. I feel like every time I was there when I was like, dude, I need orientation, I need help, and I felt very hopeful about maybe this program will be very a special life-changing thing for someone in their career. So I'm excited for that.
That's awesome. Heather, what two words would you throw in the mix of how you're feeling right now?
I'd say buzzy, sort of mimicking your energized statement, and then also curious. I'm very interested to see what questions people are going to have for us, understand where they're coming from and what their concerns are, and just where are people at? What are they doing? I'm intrigued.
Yeah, awesome. How about you, Diana?
Yeah, I'm feeling very excited to learn more about all the individuals that are participating today. And so my second word is learning. Just looking forward to learning about everybody.
Awesome. All right, well, let's get to it. We'll break out. So you'll pick sessions on the, hence my little pointer, on the left under sessions, and you can move around and in and out of them. And we'll all be staying in our the ones with our pictures on them, and we're there to answer questions and just interact and network with each other too. All right, thanks so much for joining us. Let's move over to session rooms.